Hey, everybody. Happy Friday to you, and thank you for joining us for the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk on this Friday, December 5th. We are just 20 days away from Christmas at this point. So I hope that you've gotten a good head start into your holiday shopping. The weekend is almost here, and hopefully you've had a good work week as well. We got some of you watching right now on our Facebook live stream and also on our live stream on YouTube as well. First off, not to be outdone, Sheikah Hampton with a look at all of you can't even hardly see. I have to do like this for you to be able to see me over all of these emojis. Sheikah, thank you so much for that. Melba Bruce saying hello and happy Friday. Miss Melba, I hope you're doing well as well. We've got a lot of stuff that we need to get to, a lot of stories that we're talking about. And the first one is an unfortunate. We hate seeing this, but it's something that sometimes we're having to report on here, WLBT, and that is 2 shootings here in the capital city, happening less than 2 miles apart from each other, reported this morning in South Jackson. Now, around 6:30, officers were called to Donaldson Drive, where 24-year-old Letitia Carter was found dead in a driveway. A black or dark-colored SUV was spotted leaving the area around 3 a.m. While investigating that shooting, police were notified that 2 men had been shot over on Revere Street. One of the men died at the scene. The other was taken to a hospital.
There is a strong indication based on the connection between the 2 of the incidents this morning that these 2 incidents could possibly be related.
Now, again, JPD is still working on these incidents, and they're unsure. You heard the chief say there that he believes they could be related, but again, we don't know at this point. We're still working to get those kinds of details there. We also want to let you know about something. We are now up to 70 homicides here in the capital city. Our homicide tracker, which you can see right now on WLBT.com, has those updated numbers. But we also have a new feature that we want to share with you and let you see. You can actually now search your address if you live in the city of Jackson and see how what kind of basically see which cases took place where you lived. Like, so if you live, say, on Terry Road, or if you live, let's just go ahead and do the TV station here. We're at 715 South Jefferson Street. And if you search that, it will show you how many homicides took place within a 1 mile radius of that area this year. You can look, to see whether it's half a mile, 3 miles, 5 miles, get an idea of that. And of course, when you click on that homicide, you get the information of who was killed, what happened, what information we have to share at this point. This is a new feature just to give a little bit more interactivity. If you're looking at it on your cell phone, you can just hit use my location and see that information as well. But again, and I want to reiterate this, the homicide tracker is a useful tool. We've been tracking homicides here in the capital city since 2016, but I want to remind you, and police say this constantly, that homicides, the majority of homicides in Jackson, the vast majority, happen between people who know each other. The likelihood that you're going to be randomly killed or something's randomly going to happen is very low. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it does mean that by and large, it's between people who know each other. And so that should lend itself, if people want to visit Jackson, the likelihood something's going to happen to you along those lines is very low. But again, this feature allows you to search if you live in the capital city and see how many of these happen where you live. In the future, we hope to have more crimes as well, where you can actually search and see aggravated assaults or burglaries, things of that nature. If we can get that information from the Jackson Police Department and be able to implement that into this, it will help you be able to see how crime takes place here in the state's largest city. Sanita Webb has a very good question. Are y'all tracking surrounding counties? So here's the thing about that. Jackson being the capital city and Jackson being the largest city in Mississippi, we track homicides that take place here. We do not track homicides that take place in Hinds County proper. We do not track homicides that take place in Rankin or Madison. And part of that is because since we've been tracking these since 2016, that data is not readily available for a 10-year sweep. Eventually, I would love to have that, Sunita, and be able to say we're tracking the Metro's homicides. It'd be very useful to be able to do that. What I can tell you from people that we've talked to who work in these agencies is that you have a handful compared to what happens in Jackson. And that's not because Jackson is necessarily more dangerous. It's because we just have more people who live here. Almost 150,000 people live in the capital city versus, 12,000 or 15,000 that live in Brandon, for example. And so you're obviously going to have more instances of that happening in other areas. But what I would like to be able to see and have is that kind of information for those surrounding communities. Now, I can tell you this. It's not geolocated data, if you will, but the state's Department of Public Safety, and I want to show you this while we're talking about it, because that was a very good question that you asked, and I appreciate it. So this is Google. We go to the DPS, I think so it's Mississippi Crime Statistics. If you type that into Google, it'll give you this address. Now, one thing to tell you about this is something that the state's Department of Public Safety has started putting up. Agencies that report their crime stats to the state are listed here. But there are a lot of, I'm going to show you, there's a list here that says not reporting. All these agencies still do not report their crime stats to the state. So this is a great tool if your agency reports. JPD reports. Some counties report. The bad thing about this is that you don't get location data to be able to see how much it happens maybe near where you live. I'll just pick one that I know does report, and we'll look at let's look at the Richland Police Department, and you can select 2025. Let's look at violent crime, and go ahead and look at that now. And this is statewide data that you can access. So violent crimes 13, you can see here how many were reported in 2024 versus 2025. They've seen a spike, but particularly in aggravated assaults. But what you're not seeing is where those were located. And so this is a great story to be able to do in terms of the likelihood of events happening. And again, they've got a number of victims and all these different things. But I can tell you that I wish that we had more information from these agencies to be able to track that. For me, it's very useful to have it for the city of Jackson because the sheer number of crimes that we have because of the amount of people, the number of people who lives here, would be very beneficial for people to be able to have. And I know that law enforcement is tracking that. So it would be good to be able to have that information. But it would be also good to be able to get that from other agencies as well. I focus on Jackson because I live here, I work here, and I know that the majority of our viewers want to know how safe the city is. And I can tell you right now, we'll go ahead and just show it one more time, and then we'll get back to the rest of the stories that we're talking about. But as you look at the homicide tracker, I want you to notice that it's not everything. Not everything is bad here. We are 34%. We have a 34% decrease in the number of homicides versus last year this time. That's a very good thing. That is progress. Typically, over the course of the last 5 years, the average number of killings in December is a little more than 12. We've had 3 so far this month, so we're hopefully trending downward. And if you go to the website, you can actually see how we rank versus all these other years, and look how much lower we are. We are at a 7-year low right now in terms of killings, and that is a very good thing. You can also see all of the different years. I mean, highest in Jackson's history was in 2021. And so, we have seen increases there, which is very concerning for law enforcement, for both JPD and Capitol Police who work here. One last thing I'll tell you is if you have any information on any of these crimes, especially the ones we talked about, we talked about the ones on Donaldson and Revere Streets in South Jackson. You can go to our homicide tracker and you click on this little tab right here, and it gives you the numbers for you to be able to call to report. This is Jackson Police Department's number. Capitol Police is not investigating these two from this morning, so it would not be, it wouldn't do any good to call them. But you can also call Crime Stoppers, or you can submit a tip online, and we have that link where you can literally give them your information and go forward. Our hope here is that it will actually not only promote and give more information to folks who need to know these things, but also too will help agencies be able to solve these crimes. Jackson Police right now has the highest, they have a very high solve rate, north of 80 or 85%. That's higher than the national average for solving these homicides, which is actually very good. They are doing a wonderful job. And Sunita saying thanks for the response. Well, I appreciate you. And like I said, you can reach out to me online. I'll put this up again just so you've got it. My email address here is coleman.lemaster@WLBT.com. If you have any questions, like seriously, let us know. We want to be able to do our part to be able to answer that and show you that we're looking into to these. I would personally love to have data from other cities as well, because I mean it's a lot more for us to be tracking in house in terms of like it takes a lot of work to do it, but it's worth it because then residents get to see all these things. Some of the other stories that we're following, and I think you may have seen a little bit of this last night in our or earlier this week, I should say, but this situation involving the COO of Piney Woods School. Byram police investigators believe that the chief operating officer there was beaten to death. As we first reported, William Boland's death this past summer has been ruled a homicide. Now, his body was found on July 16th at a hotel on I-55. An autopsy revealed that he died from blunt force trauma to the head. Police also collecting new information, new evidence in that case. They say Boland had gone to that hotel with a coworker from the school. We also learned that Boland lived on the Piney Woods campus in Rankin County. Now, investigators searched the campus earlier this week and collected key pieces of evidence, including Boland's car, which police believe could help solve the case.
Especially providing information and provide answers for the family. His mom, his dad, they're asking a lot of questions. And I know there's some things that we can't divulge to them, but we try to give them some things, that some type of comfort for them, letting them know that we are actively working the investigation, trying to bring closure for their family.
Now, again, that was an investigator, a lieutenant with the Byram Police Department. If you have any information, please call Byram Police or Crime Stoppers. Several Jackson Water customers on the same street are without water today because of unpaid bills, and now their city councilman is taking an unconventional approach to get them some help. Now, the residents find themselves in a tough situation. Some of them say that they've fallen behind because of outrageously high bills in the first place, bills they cannot afford. But Jackson Water says for a long time, some customers, simply haven't paid their bills. Now, yesterday, we met longtime Jackson resident Bertha Anderson. She, along with many others in her neighborhood, received a notice her water would be shut off. Her latest bill from Jackson Water was more than $3,000, as you see there, and she wasn't able to pay it. Ward 3 Councilman Kenneth Stokes says the water company should find another solution rather than cutting off water completely, especially for elderly customers.
I can't cook. I can't flush my toilet. I can't do nothing. So now what am I supposed to do? I don't know how we gonna make it. Somebody gonna have to step in.
Jackson Water need to handle these situations in a better way or give it back to the city.
In the meantime, Stokes got permission to turn on fire hydrants for residents to be able to fill buckets of water to flush toilets and clean up. Today, his team providing drinking water to those affected. As for Anderson, a portion of her bill has been paid, but she says she was told that it would be about 3 or 4 more days until her water's turned back on. Now, Ted Hennepin, the third-party administrator with Jackson Water, says that all customers got proper notice before action was taken, and the bills and shutoff dates were sent out well in advance. We're also on your side with something else that we've been following for some time, an update on sentencing for those who pleaded guilty in the largest embezzlement scandal in Mississippi history. State Auditor Shad White is actually had addressed questions about the welfare scandal involving Brett Favre, former NFL great, and several others. Favre is not facing any criminal charges. White says his office has investigated and interviewed everyone they believe was involved. It's now up to the courts to determine next steps.
7 people have pleaded guilty to state or federal charges in that case. None of those people have been sentenced yet because there is one final person that federal prosecutors have charged with a crime. That trial for that one final person is scheduled for January of 2026. And so once that final trial ends, that will be the end of the criminal portion of the welfare scandal. The other piece of that is that the state itself is in civil court suing a whole bunch of people, including Favre, to get back money for the state. And I suspect that those cases, those civil cases, will last years.
Now, the final person set to go to trial is Ted DiBiase Jr., and of course, we'll continue to follow these developments in the TANF welfare scandal as they become available. Britt saying happy Friday. Hope you're having a good one too, Britt. Good to see you and talk to you as always. And that is all the time that we have for this edition of the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk. By the way, sorry I was out yesterday. I had worked over. We had worked a 12-hour or 13-hour shift earlier this week, and so they allowed me to come in at 2 o'clock, work a half day yesterday, and so that's why you didn't see our update at 1 o'clock. But of course, we'll be back here first thing Monday. We'll be back here Monday afternoon at 1. Also at 2:30, your First Alert weather team is going to be in here to kind of give you an idea of the rain chances for this weekend and what you could expect next week. We still have some below freezing or some freezing temperatures, freezing lows at least. I believe Monday night, the last we checked, it was still expected to be freezing or below that, but we're keeping up with that. Sandra Love saying, hey y'all. Hey Sandra, I hope you're doing well too, and happy Friday to everyone. Before we let you go, here's a word from our sponsor, Jackson Water. For everyone here at WLBT, I'm CJ LeMaster, your lead investigator and your host for the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk Update. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Time for a neighborly tip from Jackson Water. Is it okay to pour fats, oils, and greases down the drain if I run hot water?
No!
What if I run the garbage disposal?
No!
How about if I use dish soap at the same time?
No!
Instead, hang on to a few containers to store and toss old cooking fat and grease once you're done. Jackson Water. Water for all the time.